right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. So they're doing a little reading, this morning, and I came across something in the book of Proverbs, the 19th chapter, that was heavy, on the spirit. So when you go into Proverbs chapter 19, and I want to read it in the NLT. So this Proverbs 19:8. It says, to acquire wisdom is to love oneself. People who cherish understanding will prosper. Okay? Read that again. To acquire wisdom is to love oneself. So acquiring wisdom is equal to loving yourself. And we're talking about the true wisdom of the scriptures, man. Because as we become, awakened to this truth, the Lord has just given us free range to acquire, this wisdom. The Holy Spirit opens us up, to go and search out this wisdom, okay? Because we was in the world, we didn't have access, to go and search out the true wisdom. We've been had the Bible our whole life, okay? But it was until we heard the gospel and the Lord endowed us with the Holy Spirit to where now we read the same book that we've had our whole life and they read different because the Lord has opened us up to acquire wisdom. And that's a privilege within itself, man. So the Lord has allowed us this access to this wisdom. The scriptures say to acquire wisdom is to love oneself, man. That's heavy, man. So to tap into the scriptures and really be about gaining this wisdom is to love oneself. And people who cherish understanding, okay, will prosper, man. The understanding of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And we don't acquire wisdom, to put it on display, to go debate, and go put on this big debate and show the wisdom that we've acquired. No, to apply wisdom real time. We're learning how to be, a follower of Yahweh Shai. We're learning how to be a brother. Okay, we're learning how to be a righteous judge. Okay, we're learning this wisdom to apply real time. We're learning how to lead a family according to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai to the best of our ability. Every brother's situation different, but to the best of our ability, we're learning these things, man. Okay, and as we cherish understanding, we're beginning to prosper because as we see everything that we believe in, okay, is happening in real time. So this wisdom that we have is beginning to prosper, man. And then on the individual level, man, this wisdom, it produces peace, okay? It produces understanding. It produces efficiency, okay? It makes us efficient, the truth. It makes us efficient in our day-to-day, you know? So as we acquiring this wisdom and we're acquiring this understanding, we're beginning to prosper, man. Okay, not prospering according to this world, okay? Because a peace of mind ain't a bunch of money, a bunch of women, popularity, or whatever. No, a peace of mind is understanding how to be pleasing to our power and the Lord taking care of our day to day. See, that's wisdom. See, understanding that right now it ain't about the material, okay, possessions, the material prosperity. It's more of the spiritual. Okay, now of course we need resources, to maintain, our day to day. Okay, but that ain't at the forefront. The forefront is gaining this wisdom and this understanding, man. Especially the times we coming in now to where the material goods is gonna have no value, but wisdom and understanding, all right, which faith is a part of wisdom. It's wise to have faith, okay, which that's a gift. Even the wisdom to understand that, uh, 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 you know, uh, that faith is a gift. Okay, so let's go from there in Proverbs as well. So you get Proverbs chapter 8. Okay, because who is the wisdom? What's wisdom? Yahweh Shai. So when we really begin to understand Yahweh Shai, we really start to understand wisdom. We really begin to understand everything, man. Proverbs 8 and 33, it says, listen to my instruction and be wise. Don't ignore it. Joyful are those who listen to me, uh watching for me daily at my gates, waiting outside. All right, it says waiting for me outside my home. Okay? Because when you go into searching out wisdom, you know, we have to really, put ourselves in a position to be a servant unto this wisdom, man. A servant to searching this wisdom out, you know, to seeking these things out, man. We have to become a servant. And then we become a servant by applying these things, man. Which you're going to get into it, you know. So when you read this again, Proverbs 8 and 30, so I'm going to jump to 35. It says, for whoso findeth me findeth life and shall obtain favor from the Lord. So we found wisdom, we found life, man. And finding life is finding our true purpose, man. And see, there's nothing more fulfilling than living out our purpose in Yahweh Bashim Shai. Doing what we're supposed to be doing, okay, within Yahweh Bashim Shai. That's life. Because when we're changed and we become immortals, when we get those new bodies, it's going to be to fulfill our purpose in righteousness, man, which is to govern the earth with Yahweh Shai in righteousness forever. So we're stepping into that purpose. We're stepping into an everlasting office, man. That's life. Us coming back to who we are as the sons of God, man, that's life. You sisters coming back to your role, as wives to those men, you're stepping into your purpose, which you're stepping into life. Because life was built around having a purpose, man. We was created to have what? A purpose. That's life. You see? We was in a dead state when we wasn't serving our purpose, man. Okay? We was in a dead state when we was in this world not serving our purpose from on high. But now we tapped into our purpose from on high. Okay? We've come back to life. And the Lord is equipping us with the wisdom to make us efficient in their purpose. Okay, it's one thing to understand the purpose, and there's another thing to apply this wisdom. That's why daily, we're obtaining wisdom, all right, to make us efficient in our purpose, man. Okay, so Proverbs 8 and 35 said, for whosoever findeth me findeth life and shall obtain favor of the Lord. And see, it's like an incentive, we search out this wisdom, we apply this wisdom, we apply the discipline, and then the Lord show us favor that we doing the right thing. It's like an incentive to keep going. Matter of fact, let's look that up. And the Lord just keep throwing incentives in the, we go through the ups and downs, the setbacks and this and that. Okay, the affliction, and then the Lord shows favor. And that favor is appreciated. Okay, and that favor is like an incentive to keep going. Keep going. You on the right track. Keep going. You know, so we all can witness, the Lord's favor, man. The Lord allow us to be around, this beautiful, body of believers. These network of brothers, man, beautiful brothers. All this wisdom, man, iron sharpening iron. Like this is favor, man. This is worth more than trillions of dollars. Okay, status or whatever, man. Nah, man, the Lord has us around the body, the rest of the believers, man. Okay, hey, we got our daily necessities, man. We're rich, you see. So let's go into them, see what they go into. Yeah. Okay, so you go into, all right, incentive. Just a quick Google definition. Incentive is as a thing that motivates or encourages one to do something. Okay, So the Lord, He shows favor in our situation, and it's an encouragement for us to just to keep going. It's an incentive for us to keep moving forward. He'll show favor here, favor there, this, that. He'll come through, and it's like, hell yeah. And it's just an incentive to keep going. Double down on, Elder Bun. They did a video, and it was entitled, if it forwards your spirit, keep doing it. Okay, if it forwards your spirit, keep doing it. And on the flip side, if it hinders your spirit, cut it out. Okay, and that's another thing. There's a simplicity to this wisdom. Okay, the thing is just the discipline to apply this wisdom. You know, uh, um, you know, repetitiously, man. Apply this wisdom in repetition till it becomes a part of us, man. Okay, so an incentive is um a thing that motivates or encourages one to do something. Okay. Now, a quick AI overview says an incentive is something that motivates or encourages someone to do something or work harder, often by offering a reward like a bonus, okay, a discount or recognition, or creating a consequence to influence behavior and achieve a desired action or outcome. Okay. And the Lord gives us incentives, you know, He gives us things to look forward to. Then He gives us little bonuses here and there on the way. Okay? He gives us the affliction, the chastening us to keep us, refined and sharp, to give us that edge. But then He gives us incentives as well, to keep going, as a motivation. That's the Lord's favor, man. You know? So as we found Yahweh, we found favor. You see? So as we, are allowed, to come into this wisdom, we have access to search these things out. Why not tap in? We tapped into everything else. We tapped into folly. Look how hard we, tapped into folly, man. Okay, and that always condemns me. You know, when I think about, because you have these moments where, like, you want to shut down and you kind of fall back and kind of slack, and that bare minimal demon. But then I always think about, damn, when it came to folly, okay, there was no cutoff. The only thing that would stop us from folly was money, because the scriptures speak that there's a talk about how the lack of money is the only thing that's stopping people from sinning, okay, or fulfilling their lust in the book of Sirach. you know and you look at it like the only thing that hindered us from fulfilling the flesh is we didn't have the resources at the time, okay, but we was always willing to do it. We was always willing to do, you know, we was always willing to, we was always ready. We was always on go mode for folly, man, just to sum it up. We was already ready to, you know, um, participate in what pleased the flesh, okay? We was on standby. So how much more now that we have true wisdom and we tapped into true purpose? How much more not be on standby for Yahweh Bashim Al Shah? How much more not to be on go mode for Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, man, since we've been given this understanding and this access to this wisdom, man. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go to Sirach 6 and um 23. It says, well, when I started 22, it said, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. So from the door, it shows you that this is an exclusive club of true wisdom. Okay, the men whom the Lord has allowed to have true wisdom, this is an exclusive club, man. Okay, that's why it should make us cherish the brotherhood as well. Okay, say, for wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel, and put thy feet into her fetters and thy neck into her chain. We become enslaved to this wisdom, man. We're bound by this wisdom. We got to react according to this wisdom. You see, we can't operate outside of the wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Shah. We are bound, you know. And every day we wake up, hey, we have to tap in, you know. Every day we have to tap into wisdom in some type of form, fashion, or way, man. Okay, we're bound to this, man. Okay, this is what Apostle Paul called what? Prisoners of Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds, with that discipline, that wisdom. Okay, be not grieved with her bonds. Okay, because this world looks at wisdom as a restraint, to operate in wisdom, which discipline is a part of wisdom. But this world looks at wisdom as a restraint. It's much easier to just wing it in the flesh. It doesn't require discipline. It doesn't require order. It doesn't require reasoning. Okay? The simplest thing to do is just to operate, okay, and wing it in the flesh. And that's what most people want to do in this society. The way Esau has this society set up, that's the most convenient thing to do in this society. Okay? But it's you get resistance when you apply wisdom. Okay? This world resists you when you apply wisdom. But see, the Lord, this is like going back to how fathers train their sons. They will put intentional resistance on their sons, okay, to build their strength and their endurance. Okay, because if we can, operate in wisdom in the wicked world, when we get all this resistance, how much is it going to be easy for us to operate in wisdom in a world that's convenient for wisdom, for true wisdom, for righteousness, man? So the Lord is like a spiritual exercise, okay, to keep practicing wisdom in the world that's anti-wisdom, okay, that's anti-righteous, man, okay? And it says, um, come unto her with our whole heart. We gotta lean all the way into this thing, man. We gotta be willing to make whatever adjustment need to be made. No matter how long we did something and how it worked for us in the past, man, once we see, that there's a better way, man, we gotta be willing to elevate to that better way. Submit ourselves wholeheartedly to wisdom, man. Really lean into this thing, man. Be all about this thing, man. Athletes be in the gym all day. Rappers be in the studio all day. Okay? Ratchet bitches be on OnlyFans all day. Okay? So we can't be in this wisdom. We can't tap into this wisdom with that same, okay, with much more, okay, commitment. Okay, because you look at how people are committed to folly, how much more should we be committed to the glory that we got coming, man? In Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, how much more should we be committed, man? Okay? And it says, bow down thy shoulder. Oh, I've read that. This verse 26 says, come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go, man. It says, search and seek, and she shall be known unto thee. So the Holy Spirit is dealing, man, when we put forth that effort, to make the time for wisdom, man. And the Lord honors that. And he increases us, man. Okay? When we put forth that effort to make time for wisdom, the Lord is going to honor that. We serve a righteous power. He honors our labors, and, he honors our sacrifice for this wisdom and this understanding. He begins to honor that, man. And it says, for at the last thou shalt find her rest. All right. And that shall be turned to thy joy. Because the end game is leading to a righteous kingdom until the earth is being ruled by this wisdom. That's the end game. The wisdom that we are acquiring and obtaining, the earth is going to be ruled by that wisdom. That's going to be the standard. Okay. But right now, we're the pioneers of searching this wisdom out. Okay. And teaching this wisdom to those that are like-minded. Okay. But eventually the earth is going to be ran by this wisdom. That's going to be our rest and our joy. We're going to have those new bodies. Okay. We're going to have the power to enforce wisdom. Okay. In the earth, man. There's a standard. You see? And that's going to be our rest. Right now, we're laboring. It's time to grind. but it's the rest eternal. Okay? And it says, um, then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. So all that discipline, all that sacrifice, missing out and, being off the scene, being out the way, not being popular, not enjoying the pleasures of this world, which to some it looks like a chain. That's why a lot of Jake they throw off the truth, man, because it like it was restraining them from their worldly ambition, and that's why it's so valuable to be dead to this world, because then we're able to really tap into this. Okay, because if we still had ambitions in this world, then this truth will look like a hindrance. Okay, because you can't serve both. You can't serve, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, and then try to serve your ambition in this world. We've seen it. Look at these guys, man. Look at what it has led to, these men that have tried it. Okay? Atrocious. You see? You can't want to serve Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Okay, and then no jumper. Okay, you got these ambitions on the No Jumper podcast. Nah, man. It's gonna conflict. Okay? And if you're not rooted in Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, the worldly lust gonna always win. The right here, the right now. Okay, see this wisdom. That's another thing. Wisdom teaches patience. Understand that no, the true reward on the back end ain't no reward in this world. That's wisdom. You see, Jake get into and think wisdom just this, these mystic, out of these world, breakdowns and analogies and okay, which that's a part of as far as, the breakdowns and the meat of the scriptures. But the simplicity of wisdom is what's keeping us in the truth. El Zahab always get into that. It's the simplicity of the wisdom. Knowing that patience is valuable, man. Knowing that the real reward is on the back end, that's wisdom. Understanding that there's no value in this world, that's wisdom. Okay? That's wisdom, and that's the thing that's keeping us rooted and anchored down. You see, it's the simple things that's keeping us weighted down in this truth, man. Okay, really, the Lord God to where the simple things, all right, are anchoring us down in this truth, man. Knowing that, like I said, ain't no value in this world. Ain't no value in trying to have ambition in this world. No, the value is being patient and being dead to this world and waiting on Yahweh Shai to come. Okay, and we wait on Yahweh Shai by watching prophecy, man, watching this thing unfold. Okay, these events that lead into Yahweh Shai, we're occupied in that, man. Like Esau watched the stock market. A nigga that's into sports, he watched the sports. Okay, well, we watch prophecy, man, because that's what we into. You see, that's what all our chips said. That's what we put our bet on. Okay, and it says, then shall her feathers be a strong defense for thee, her chains a robe of glory. For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Now it's talking royal talk. See, this is leading us to nobility. This is leading us to a kingdom. This wisdom is leading us to rulership, and it's based in faith. Because it takes faith to keep going, to deal with the affliction and, the trials that come with this. It takes faith to keep going. Because motivation only is temporal. It takes faith and discipline to stay consistent in this thing, man. All right, all through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. It says, thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shall put her about thee as a crown of joy. Okay, so this wisdom, matter of fact, is ended there to show the end results. Okay, what the wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai is producing. Okay, this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6. Therefore, this is Wisdom of Solomon 6:20 said, therefore, the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom that's literal. It's going to be an actual kingdom, all right, that this wisdom is guiding us to, man. And this wisdom is Yahweh Shai. Okay? So we're following the blueprint of Yahweh Shah to a kingdom, man, which is the wisdom of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, man. Okay, verse 21. So if your delights be then in thrones and scepters, O ye kings of the people, and this is talking to the elect, beginning with the first fruits. Okay, honor wisdom that ye may reign forever, man. So we delight in the righteous rulership. You know, it's time for righteousness to be reestablished in the earth, man. All right, Esau, Edom, this nigga he's done, man. Okay, hey, the Lord has made this point with this nigga, man. Okay, and this nigga, and you can tell the Lord is wrapping it up for this nigga, man. Okay, it's closed curtain for Esau. Okay, and it's time for righteousness, beginning with Yahweh Shai. Okay, to be the standard of the earth, man. You know, and if we delight in a kingdom like that, well, let's get into the wisdom of that kingdom. Okay, which we have access to via the scriptures, man. You know, then you have the ministry, the body of prophets, man. All these different perspectives of wisdom going into, the same book. You know, so we're rich, man. So that's the point, Lord will you, brothers. All right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutation, hopefully, shalom.